Oh, hey guys. I was like, am I live? Am I live? Thank you guys so much for being here. Yes, I'm seeing in the comments that you guys really enjoyed last night's episode, and I did too because for one, we got to see a flashback that we've never seen before. So when I was talking on Twitter to some of you who were watching last night, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Sam, because we haven't seen Sam in such a long, long time. And he looked the same, but I thought it was interesting what they did with the other characters, like making them look, I guess, younger, like Bonnie and Frank and Annalise. We've already kind of seen Annalise look like this, but I thought that was really funny. So thanks so much for being here, Mark, Vanessa, Ben, Dren. I think maybe one other person said they were coming, but I don't see them yet. Julian said he was coming. And if you're here and haven't said hey, just say hey in the comments. Aaron's here. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on in last night's episode, but maybe not as much stuff as the premiere of the second. But the ending was freaking incredible. I see that my screen is paused. I'm hoping you still see me. Hopefully I'm still there. You just never know with this Google chat on YouTube. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. But quickly on Scream, I'm finished with that. I think we had this big discussion in this live chat last week about Scream. So I completely finished it because it was amazing. And if you hadn't heard from Twitter, I will be doing Scream videos and live chats in April. So thank you guys so much for recommending it. But back to How to Get Away with Murder. Yes, the ending was epic. And I think it just goes to show that Frank actually probably loves Laurel because he was willing to tell her that. Now, I don't believe that that's the only person he's murdered and that's the only bad thing he's ever done. But I think it was huge that he told her. Now the question is, what is she going to do with this information? Is she going to break up with him? I don't think she's someone who's going to try to tell the police or anything because we all know she's done some criminal things. But I just thought that was such an amazing ending, and I did not expect it because I was actually taking some notes while I watched it to get ready for my recap video, and I'd already written out that that Laurel was like begging for Frank to tell her the bad stuff that he was done. And I went ahead and wrote out, and he wouldn't tell her, so they broke up. And then all of a sudden, he told her that he killed Lila. So I was just like, oh my gosh, completely blew my mind. And then what happened after that, we saw that someone who they think is Philip, but probably not because that's too easy, filmed the activities or some of the activities that went on the night that Sinclair was murdered and Annalise was shot. So someone's going to try to blackmail them with that video. Julian thinks that Laurel might forgive him. No, I don't know if she's still going to break up with him. I don't think that she's going to rat him out or anything, or, you know, but I really think that she's going to have some issues with that revelation. I don't think it's going to be easy for her to process, you know, because when you think about it again, Lila was not a bad person. She didn't deserve to die. She wasn't like a criminal that he killed to get a criminal off the streets. Not that anyone deserves to die, but this person was just someone who got caught up in an affair and happened to be pregnant. And it was just really sad because he killed two people here. So I just think that Laurel's going to have a really hard time with this. So Vanessa thinks that it was Caleb who sent that video to Connor. I do too. And I think we talked about this last week. I definitely talked to some of you in the comments in my recap video this past week that Caleb could definitely be our bad guy in this situation, not his sister and not Philip, even though they may have had parts in the murdering, or maybe, I'm not sure if they had a role in the murder of their parents or what, but I think that Caleb is going to be the shocking reveal of the person who is kind of behind all of the bad things. Hi, Kay, and hi, Tony. Thank you guys so much for being here. Did we ever find out why Frank killed Lila? Not specifically, but he owed Sam a favor. And he's kind of like a hitman, I think. So I think he's probably killed a lot of other people, but it was something he had to pay back Frank for. And I don't think, not Frank, I do this every time, something they had to pay Sam back for. And I don't think we ever found out exactly what that was. Yes, I did see Scream. I mentioned it, but I'll mention it quickly again. We can talk about this later, but I want to talk about How to Get Away with Murder first. But yes, I loved it. I will be doing videos in April and chats. It was amazing. One of the best shows on TV. So thank you guys so much for recommending it because I absolutely love it. Mark says, so when your girlfriend is walking out on you, you tell her that you murdered an innocent girl. Frank uses some great logic. Yeah, I really think he used that as leverage because at the last minute he felt like if I don't say something here, she's going to break up with me. I really think she's going to break up with him anyway. He was kind of trying to tell her, I think, in his mind to be like, no, I really care about you. I'm going to tell you a deep, dark secret of mine. But by telling her, he just completely freaked her out. Yeah, I think he did kill her because she was pregnant and Sam didn't want to deal with all that because remember she threatened to go to Annalise. She did go to Annalise, but Bonnie stopped her. But I also think he mentioned he owed Sam a favor. And so I think Sam mentioned that when he was calling him to ask him to kill Lila. So there's a deeper something going on there with that storyline, which we haven't. I think they will tell us eventually. But yes, it was just so crazy epic, I thought, last night's ending. And that's why the show was really good. Because, you know what, they throw those surprises out there like that. They didn't promo that. They didn't say, you know, there's a shocking ending. And I don't think any of us saw it coming. And that's why I really appreciate the show because we can never figure it out. And I just think it's great. I mean, what a super ending. I don't know. It completely caught me off guard and I thought it was just amazing. So something I wanted to clear up from last week's live chat and I think in my recap video is that I was pretty certain, and I have been, you know, thinking all along that Annalise was Wes's natural mom. But a couple of you pointed out, and you're exactly right, that when we see these flashbacks of her being pregnant, it always says 10 years later, which on 10 years earlier, which on last week's episode, I totally missed that. It clearly said it in this week's episode. And so it can't be that Wes is her son because the ages just don't work out. So I don't know what's up with that. She's kind of having some difficulties with the baby this time. I still feel like she did have the baby. I don't really know where that's going to go. But you also see that there's something going on with, is it Mahoney, some kind of Mahoney trial, Mahoney person that's connected to Kristoff's mom, and Kristoff is probably Wes. I'm not really sure. I'm going to go back to the comments here. What do I think happened to the baby? I just don't think it can be Wes, Kay, because the ages just don't match up. Because 10 years earlier from today, or from, you know, when we're watching the show, Wes would just be like, what? You know, I just don't think it adds up. I think her child has to be, what, 10 years old? Because if she was pregnant 10 years ago, then her child, if this child's still alive, and did she say it was a boy? I think she did, but it has to be 10 years old. Okay, so Tony says, feel like telling her that he killed Lila was no big deal. The truth about Bonnie killing Rebecca would set them off. Yes, absolutely, because Annalise keeps lying about that. She lied to Laurel about that in last week's episode. Erin didn't see the ending coming, sat there on her couch trying to process it. Yes, completely threw me off. Absolutely. Vanessa said that Annalise mentioned she had a few miscarriages. Yeah, I just think that this baby is not a miscarriage because they've been playing it up so much. And I think, why show her pregnant? Why go through all of this if she never had the baby? There's definitely, I think, some other storyline here with what happened to her actual child. I don't know, but I just feel pretty certain, especially with all of the baby stuff in last week's episode. I just feel like it has to be. Dren says this episode was so good and every flashback linked with the story and everything made sense. Definitely the best show ever. The only thing that I would rather them not at this point focus on are these side stories. I mean, I was okay with that, where we have the story of the guy who killed this woman's son, but I just really kind of want to focus on our mystery. And I know they've done this for a while, but I just want to focus on, you know, what's going on with Kristoff/Wes, what's going on with this baby that she had, and just the whole mystery of her, the night she was shot, and who killed the parents of Catherine and Caleb. Mark says that Famke Janssen is back next week, so I'm guessing we're going to figure out why Eve is involved in all of this. Great. So we might find out more information about the whole Kristoff-Wes storyline, because she was definitely involved in that. And we don't really have all the pieces of how his mother is involved into all of this, but it's definitely starting to look more and more shady, because, you know, his mom tried to leave when we had that flashback, and she was like, you can't leave, because she was, I guess, blackmailing her or something. I'm not really sure. Dren really liked the side story this week. It was emotional. Yeah, it was. And I'm not saying they're never like bad or wastes of time. It was very sad. The woman was, it was incredibly sad and emotional. Yes. But I don't know. I just like to focus more on like the reoccurring themes throughout the show. So Kay says maybe Wes is Kristoff. I think so. I definitely think so, because if she does end up being that woman lawyer, maybe that's related to the end of the last season with the little boy and her at the police station. Absolutely. I think the little boy who we saw being interviewed, who went by Kristoff, right? Wasn't that the name that they said he was? And then we know that this is his mom. Definitely, I think his name was changed to Wes. Either he did it or somebody else did it, because he knows about Kristoff too. He knew that name immediately when they mentioned it to him. Hi, niece. Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, I definitely think that there's really no way that Wes can be her son. Like, that's just out of the question, unfortunately, because I think that would have been such a great twist. The papers on Annalise's desk, Juliet, I don't remember. Can anybody answer that question? Because I must not have caught that, or that's something I don't remember. Let's see. Did I miss any more comments? But anyway, I thought it was just really interesting because one of you tweeted me that the guy who plays Sam had been seen filming for this part of the season, and it was so funny because that was from a few days ago, and then he showed up in flashback scenes for this episode. So I just thought it was funny and cool to see the 10 years ago, and it was just funny to me also how Frank was still the same old Frank, and he was trying to flirt with this girl who looked a lot like Laurel, and they had the interns, but they were different people. Interesting. Oh, another point I wanted to bring up is the fact that Wes accidentally got admitted to like the psych ward, and then she didn't want to get him out. Annalise didn't want to get him out. I don't know. But honestly, he was really feeling suicidal. He wasn't, I mean, he had been, maybe he wasn't at the time that he went to that medical facility, but you know, you can't obviously go into a medical facility and make a statement about wanting to kill yourself because, you know, they want to take all the precautions they can. Julian says the ones that were sent to Wes, are you talking about the papers? The papers were the files. Yes. Okay. Now I remember. The papers were the files about Wes's mom. And I think that they were in relation to Mahoney. Again, I don't really know how all those pieces fit together at this point. So if you're asking me for more information on that, I don't really know anymore other than those are like the papers that she presented to Wes's mom, like in that little cafe. Ben wanted more in Connor and Oliver scenes. Yeah, sometimes we get a lot with them, but we didn't really have a lot last night. So Dren thinks that Wes's mom broke the law and she was running away from the police. So Annalise found out and tried to help her, and eventually Wes's mom killed herself. So apparently we were led to believe that Wes's mom killed herself. But what some of you have questioned is, did Annalise have something to do with her death, or was it really a suicide, or what? I really don't know. But we will probably find that out, I think, in this season, but who knows? So, yeah, let me see if I missed any more comments, but I don't think I did. But yeah, it's crazy how so much is going on, says Kay, and it's only the second episode. Love that this show has no fillers. Absolutely. That's another reason I really love this show, is because they don't throw out stuff and clues that absolutely mean nothing and for no reason. And they're really good about characters. They don't bring in people, and obviously this side story every time, but they don't, you know, carry over. But we don't meet people who are, you know, going to be, that seem to be big characters who disappear. You know, they always make everything make sense, and that's what I absolutely love about this show. Nee says, thanks for getting to watch this show. I think, I don't know if you're a guy or a girl, but Nee is saying thank you because I recommended the show, I think. Yes, it's very addicting. I'm glad you love it like I do, because I think I told a lot of you all the time on Twitter and in my other show recaps or my other show live chats that it's just so good, and once you start, you're just not going to be able to quit it. At least I think. I've never heard anyone say like I hated it or I couldn't watch it, it wasn't interesting, because it's just fast paced and there's always there's always stuff to figure out, and it's like always more than one thing, and that's what I enjoy. It's not just a storyline of, like, for example, Pretty Little Liars, where you're trying to figure out who A is. There's like a billion different things that we have to try to figure out all the time. My favorite episode of How to Get Away with Murder, Ben, was definitely the finale for part 1 of season 2, where Annalise was like giving this Emmy performance, and then she won an Emmy because that was just freaking crazy, where she was like begging people to shoot her. I was just dying. It was so dramatic, and I was on the edge of my seat for that one. And oh my gosh, like, I don't think they can top it, but then they probably will with an episode in this half of the season. Kay says, do you think something will happen to the baby while she's on the plane, because they kept mentioning flying? Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I just don't know what the deal is with all of the mentioning of her being pregnant and stuff like that, because, I mean, she mentioned a few times how she didn't feel well and stuff in the flashbacks. So, I really don't know. Maybe if the baby doesn't live or something, that she wanted to adopt Kristoff because she wanted a child or something. I'm not sure. Aaron says, was so interested when I saw you making recaps of the show, so watched it and glad that you did. Yeah, and you know what's funny? I feel like a lot of us have the same taste in shows. So if I'm gonna do, like for example, Scream, a lot of you told me to watch Scream, and I feel like it kind of fits along with these other shows that we all watch. So once, like if I'm doing recaps of other shows and you haven't watched those, there's a good chance that you're gonna like it, because we all seem to have the same taste in TV shows. And I think the theme here are mysteries. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's involving killing people, but basically we're just trying to figure out things like mysteries, which are hard to figure out. Those are my favorite types of shows and movies to watch, because I love to play detective, and I know you guys do too. And so I think pretty much every show that I cover is one of those types of shows. Drin says that Annalise may have lied to Wes's mom when she said she will help her. So she helped the police to catch Wes's mom out of depression. Oh, so out of depression, she killed herself. Okay, so yes, that's a really good point. So maybe she got in trouble with the police, Wes's mom, and Annalise knows she's responsible for that. And then this led her to a depression to where she did decide to kill herself. Aaron watched Scream and really liked it. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was so crazy about it. I was staying up super late watching it. I was just like, plus I wanted to get it completely watched, because people kept, when I would tweet about it, people would say things to me about it. And then one person actually spoiled it for me before I finished season 1, but that's another story. Julian says, why did the Keating Five keep running away when they come back for help? Well, yeah, there was a lot of that last night where people are mad again at Annalise. And honestly, I think that the students feel trapped because they know that she has so much dirt on them that they really can't go anywhere, because they will get turned into the police, or they will end up dead, probably more likely. I mean, I don't know. It's just, Connor in the end of part 1 of season 2, Connor tried to get, basically there's huge consequences to pay because of all the dirt I have on you. So sadly, she's just not a very nice person, and she's going to make them pay if they try to leave. Deja, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming to the show tonight. Did we ever find out who Eggs 911 is? Yes, it was a guy who claimed that he was, let me think of her name, Rebecca's brother. I haven't seen him in this half of the season because he was arrested after they set him up last half of the season. Yes, Levi, thank you. That was his name. I think there were some questions there about him, and questions of, was he really her brother? I don't know. I wonder if he'll come back around. I think he probably will. Tony says, feel like the video just brings them back to Annalise. Mark says Annalise fired Laurel. Yes, that was something else that happened, which I don't think any of us believe that that's going to stick. Yet she was still working when Annalise went downstairs. Right. I mean, she gets mad at them, but they kind of need her and she kind of needs them. And sadly, because they've done a bunch of bad stuff for her, it's going to be really hard for them to leave. I think it will be really interesting to see how all of this eventually ends when the show decides to end, because what's going to happen to these people and their secrets. And I mean, I feel like something bad will happen to Annalise and she'll eventually go to jail, because she's just committed so many crimes that it's ridiculous. And I just don't think anybody can keep getting away with crimes like their entire life. So I don't know. Wait a minute. Did they not say that somebody was going to die in this week's episode, though? I thought that they promoted that last week. I'm trying to think. Didn't they say that? Yeah, Niece cannot believe that Frank confessed to killing Lila. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, but yes, absolute, total, bombshell of a moment. We dropped a huge bomb there at the very end of that episode, and I think it was just, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Tony says, they walked out and then Connor had to call her and back in it. Yeah, so it's just like any of the Keating Five who try to leave can't leave for long because, well, the dirt that she has on them. Mark says, when the show ends, I hope Annalise dies. I love her character, but it would be a perfect ending. Karma would finally catch up to her. I think that's a good thought. Yeah. And I think that we will probably see at least one of the Keating Five be killed off in the future. Is this video blurry to you? Because it looks blurry to me. I'm wondering if I should I have the Wi-Fi off, but I'm wondering if I should turn it on. I don't know what it's doing. So excited, says Julian. Don't even know how it's going to end. The show always has surprises. Yes, it's just, I don't know. It's just so good. That's what makes the show so amazing. I don't know many other shows that keep surprising you. I mean, there are some. I think Scream did a really good job with that, actually. I did also feel sorry for Asher during this episode. Ben, he knew that they were talking about him. And I mean, his dad died, and as weird of a relationship they had with each other, he really, I think, looked up to him and wanted to be like him one day. So I feel really bad. Does anyone else know that Frank killed Lila as Kay? Gosh, that's a good question. Does Annalise know that? Does Bonnie know that? I can't remember. I cannot remember who knows that. That's a really good question. Frank is just, I don't know. I think Frank is really conflicted because, like I said, I think that he actually really cares about Laurel, and maybe he's never really cared about someone like that before and doesn't know what to do. But at the same time, he is just not a good guy at all. So I don't know. Yeah, Oliver was being a bit insensitive. So Mark says that nobody knows, and that's what I thought. I think the only person who knew was Sam, and Sam's not alive anymore. I guess he knew, right? Was he still alive? Was he able to tell him that he killed her before Sam was killed himself? I don't know, but he knew that that was going to happen because he asked him to do it. So I just feel like I think she's going to keep it her secret, but I don't think she's going to feel comfortable around him for a really long time. I don't think she's going to stay with him right now. But she's such a loyal person that I don't think she's going to go tell people or turn him in or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just pretty crazy. That's all I can say. I mean, but it was awesome. But yeah, I don't understand why they promo that someone was going to die and like no one did though. That's so weird. So Vanessa's talking about Shonda's new crime drama. A couple of you mentioned that to me before. It's called The Catch. When does that come out? Do you guys know? I know someone told me and I forgot. But I will definitely try to catch that show because I like to get in on her shows from the beginning. Because you know how she's so talented. I mean, I just think I have a lot of respect for her because I just think she's just mega talented. And I never watched Scandal from the beginning, and then people kept talking about it, and I went and watched it. Like I binge watched it, and I got burnt out on it, and then I stopped, and now I'm so behind. And just for me, if I get like seasons and seasons behind, I just cannot. And we were talking earlier in the comments. Vanessa was talking to me about Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, and people are always like, these are just the best shows ever. But to me, I cannot go back and devote all that time. Just personally, I don't like to watch something that's been on for many seasons because it just freaks me out. It's just too much. But for Scream, it was fine because I only missed 10 episodes, so that's not a big deal. Erin doesn't really care for Scandal, to be honest. Fitz and Olivia kind of destroyed it for her. I first really bored, maybe because I had watched a bunch of them like in order. It was just way too much. And then when I was losing interest, and I was like, there's just way too many episodes. I'm not going to watch this anymore because if I don't like it, like why am I devoting my time to this? I don't understand. So Tony feels like Michaela will be killed off for some reason. I don't know who it could be, or I can almost see like Asher being the one. But then again, he's already had a bunch of stuff happen to him with his dad. March 24th is when The Catch will come out. So you guys, we should all watch it and see what we think. And after I watch it, I'll make a decision about whether or not I want to do videos and stuff on it. And I'll definitely let you guys know. If you are on Twitter, I am Kellie_TV. That information is also in the box down below. So really, that's the very best way to know what shows I'm covering, when I have a live chat, when I have a new video on YouTube. So if you are on there, you should follow me so you can keep up with me. If you don't have Twitter, you can always bookmark my Twitter, and go to that and see what I'm saying, at least, so you won't be in the dark. And also, if you are new and haven't subscribed, although I think most of you have subscribed, but some of you may be watching and not commenting and you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate that. That would help me out a lot if you would subscribe to my channel. So what else should we talk about? I know where a ton of stuff hasn't happened yet with this show in this part of the season. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to theorize over and over because we're kind of in a hole of talking about the same things. But you just let me know what we should talk about with this show, and we will. Julian says, I could see Frank killing Laura because she was going to tell the Keating Five, or Laurel because she was going to tell the Keating Five. I really don't think that she will betray him like that because we saw like how loyal she was. Now, she did tell him the truth that she was not the one who shot Annalise. She told him that Wes did, but she just wants the two of them, I think, to be really honest with each other, or she wanted that. I don't think she's the type of person who's going to go behind his back and tell people about him killing Lila. At the same time, I think she's always going to have that kind of in her back pocket as a weapon she can threaten to use against him if he screws up again or if he does anything to betray her. She's going to have that information, and he knows that she's the only person with that information. So that is really, I think, going to be a really big part of this show from now on. Kay was asking what were Annalise and Bonnie talking about when she was a student. Well, yes, there was like some hidden messages in there, and that's a good point. They were talking about Sam, and Annalise was wondering if Sam had helped her. I don't know what was up. I mean, obviously Sam and Bonnie had some kind of weird, twisted, romantic relationship of some sort. I don't know if they were just having an affair or if they were just, they mentally were into each other but never acted on it. I don't really know, but something really weird was going on there. But on that note, I think that the reason that they brought it up last night is because there's some stuff going on with them that we haven't been told yet. There's definitely some stuff that they were hinting at there. And I think it's good that you brought that up, Kay, because I was definitely getting vibes that something more is there. So Niece thinks that Bonnie was Sam's patient, but wasn't he a professor? Do you mean like student? Tony enjoyed the retro Keating Five flashback. I really did too. I think it was cool because it was almost like they had the same types of people, just different people as the Keating Five. I thought that was cute. Of course, they were like not called that, and they were interns. So Vanessa says there's a new show called Slasher on Chiller. Is Chiller a channel? I don't even know if I have that. But that sounds like something I would like, with just from the title, Mark says we only have 4 weeks left until the finale. Can't wait because they're probably going to wrap up this mystery and make a new one for season 3. Absolutely agree. We all watched season 1 and they completely wrapped it up, which I think is good. I don't really want to drag out, they always have a huge, this is a formulatic show. So they always have one huge mystery that involves Annalise and the Keating Five, and then they have, other sub stories every week. So I think it's good to just go ahead and wrap it all up. They wrapped up the Lila story, fit into present day. We're going to wrap this up too. We're going to wrap up the murder. We're going to find out who really murdered the parents. We're going to wrap this up. And I think Caleb and Catherine and Philip will not be characters next season. So that being said, I think it's kind of sad that we only have 4 more episodes because, or is it 4 or 5? I'm not sure, because it just seems like when they split the seasons up, it's bad because we just get a few episodes at a time. Rather, if they had just like kept the whole season intact, it would have felt like a really nice long season. So, okay, so Niece is saying that Sam was a psychologist too. So I don't remember that, but that makes more sense that Bonnie was his patient. So I'm just wondering what we don't know about Sam and Bonnie. And I think definitely we will find out more about that in the future, because they don't just mention stuff and then forget about it and never tell us again. So Vanessa's saying that the Slasher show comes out on March 4th and there are only 8 episodes. So maybe some of you guys will want to check that out too. I will try to check that out. It's getting to be kind of a busy time as far as what shows I can watch and cover on here. I would like to be able to do a bunch, but at the same time, I really want to do the best I can with live chats and recaps. And if I get like 10 or something, it would just get crazy. And I don't think I could devote my full attention to all these shows. So, because Quantico is coming back, I think the 6th of March. So I'm definitely going to be doing videos on that. And then April, we have Scream. But I know PLL is going to wrap up pretty soon. So I am going to, do a couple more shows. So I'll look into Slasher and The Catch as well. So Mark is saying that Slasher looks like Scream, but even darker. Am I excited for the pretty little plot hole season finale? Asks Austin. Hi, Austin. No, I'm not excited for that. Especially when I watch other shows like Scream and How to Get Away with Murder. I'm like, why do I still watch Pretty Little Liars? If you guys watch my Pretty Little Liars videos, you know the answer for that. That would, I'm not going to get into that, but it's just not a very good show anymore, sadly. So Kay says what Caleb said was harsh. Very funny. Yes, good point. Somebody else brought it up earlier here. Ben, loved it when Michaela confronted Caleb. She destroyed him. He was really, really, really rude to her as well. Kay says, yes, what Caleb said was harsh, and she's going to end up forgiving him because of the preview next week, probably. That's not smart. Again, I think he's going to end up being the mastermind behind the parent murder and all kinds of other stuff, and he's probably the one blackmailing them. I don't know, but he's probably the real villain here. And then she's going to feel bad because she's already had one bad relationship with someone lying to her, and here's the second one. Aaron says PLL has really gone downhill. And I know most of you kind of were on all the shows that I'm on. So if you don't watch that, I'm sorry. I know sometimes I feel like I get off on these other shows. I'm talking about these other shows while we're talking about How to Get Away with Murder. And some of you are probably like, I don't even watch that show. But I do feel like most of you watch all the same shows that I watch. So we're all kind of connected here. But yes, Pretty Little Liars is just not good. I don't even know what more to say about it, but this week's episode was terrible. As you guys know, for those of you who watch my videos or come to my chats or watch my chats for that show. So it's very disappointing. We've done this for 30 minutes now. We can take a couple more questions. I'm probably not going to do an entire hour on this show yet, just because, like I said, we don't have a ton to talk about. But if you guys have some new stuff you want to talk about that we haven't mentioned about this episode, we can do that. But I probably am not going to make this an hour just because we don't have enough material, really. I feel like I don't want to just keep repeating the same topics from this episode, because we've gone over pretty much all of it, I think. But Mark is asking, where is Catherine during all of this? I wouldn't be surprised if her and Caleb were working together and they both sent the tape. Yeah, I definitely had that thought. I don't know if she's 100% innocent either. Now, they've pretty much made us believe that Philip is the mastermind and the really bad guy in all of this, and he did all the bad things. But you know what that means. That's probably not true. Now, I also don't know if he is completely innocent, but I think he is definitely not the big bad PLL reference guy that they want him to be. So, so tomorrow I will have my How to Get Away with Murder recap reaction video from last night's episode. So those are always going to go up on Saturdays. So hopefully, again, if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this, you will, so that you won't miss the chats or the recaps. And also, I think it gives you ideas of what other shows to watch, because a lot of these shows have a similar theme. Drenches saw the slasher promo and it looks great. So I will check that out when we're done here. Murder in the First on TNT. No, I've never seen that. I have heard of that. And Empire, I don't watch, but a lot of my friends watch it and love it. I feel like that's one I kind of missed out on because I don't know how long it's been on. Maybe that's something that one of these days I can catch up on, because people just say, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. So I guess I will add that to my list of shows that I hope to watch. Aaron doesn't think Philip is the bad guy. Someone is setting him up. I agree. I really don't. I mean, he might have some part in this. He might not be like a great guy, but I don't think he's as bad as they're trying to make us think he is. Ben says, I know this isn't related, but what do I think about the whole, I don't know who that is. Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about like Kesha, Dr. Luke thing? What are you talking about? Because I'm lost. I don't know why. I'm just like completely not knowing what you're talking about. When I see Kesha, I think of the singer. So Empire's on season 2. Yeah, I knew that I hadn't missed like a ton of that. So yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know when, because I just feel a little bit like overwhelmed with a lot of the different shows coming back, but I might be able to check it out. I mean, I would like to. It's definitely in the back of my mind as something I wanted to check out. Quantico's really good. I guess you can watch it on the ABC app for free. There may be other means of watching it in different countries, I'm not sure, where you can watch it for free. The only thing I didn't love about it was the I guess, mid-season finale. But I think it's overall a very good show with a big mystery that they haven't resolved. It's a great one for trying to guess who's involved, who's the bad guy, and it's very hard to figure out. Hopefully you can still see me. I don't know what is going on today with this live show. I don't know if it's just on my end or if it's on yours, but for me, it keeps going in and out. So Mark says Philip is listed to be in the finale. I wonder what this means. I don't know. I feel like, you know, even if, wow, I'm just reading this now about Kesha. Where have I been? Why did I not see this? I feel like even if he's not in it in present day, he'll be definitely in it in flashbacks, and that's why he's listed to be in the finale. The Fall is a creepy show. I feel like I've seen that. Why do I feel like I've seen it? I used to watch The Following. That was really good for a while, and then it got really bad. I made a couple videos about that. So Mark says Kesha was sexually abused by her music producer, and she was denied in court today to get out of her contract with him. She has to create 8 more albums with him. I don't know. That is just crazy. I don't know why. I need to definitely read on that before I give my thoughts. Like, I need to inform myself more, but I don't know why I didn't hear that. That's really awful if that happened. That's terrible. And I don't know why anyone would make her create more. That sounds insane. Okay, so I'll read up on that. That's awful. Oh my gosh, Vanessa, The Fall. Okay, The Fall is really good. It is on Netflix, and it is a, I guess, British show. So yes, I think I've mentioned that to you guys. It's the #1 trending thing on Twitter. I'm like the most terrible person that this Kesha thing is. You know, honestly, I never look at the Twitter trends. That's hard to say. But I am signed up for like CNN alerts, but I get a lot of alerts and I've been talking a lot on Twitter. So maybe that is why I never got the Kesha alert from CNN. I feel like they would have definitely sent that out. But let's talk quickly about The Fall. The Fall is so good, and it's only been, there's like been 2 seasons. It's 2 seasons on Netflix, but they're really, really short seasons. It's excellent. It has the guy from 50 Shades of Grey. What's his name? He's the main guy. He's the villain. And Gillian Anderson from X-Files is on it. I love The Fall so much. I think it's a little hard to do what I do with other shows, with Netflix shows, because they're all out there at once and it's hard to do live chats and stuff. I don't know. I've never tried to do recaps and stuff on Netflix shows, but maybe that's something I could consider. But The Fall is so good. If you guys have Netflix and you're looking for a new show or you get bored, it's definitely the type of show like all these other shows that we watch. It's really, really good. But yeah, it's a mystery show. Jamie Dornan is in it. He's the lead. What I like about The Fall that's different from a lot of these other shows is that we really get the serial killer. Spoiler alert, not really a spoiler, but we're dealing with the serial killer here. We see his point of view a lot. And a lot of these other shows we watch and like, we do not see what's going on with the killer. We do see a lot about the point of view of the killer in this show. It's so good. I'm trying to tell you guys what it's about for those of you who are interested who haven't seen it. But Jamie Dornan is basically a serial killer. I don't think that that's a giveaway. But he has like a very normal life and he has a job and he has a family and you would never know that he was out doing crazy things. But Jillian is like the FBI person, but it's overseas. It's not in the US, so I don't know what her exact title is. But there's kind of a lot of stuff going on between the two of them, and you're trying to figure out if he's going to get away with all of his crimes, basically. And he has specific crimes and specific types of people he's targeting. So it's very, very, very good. I liked it from the very beginning, and that's something like when I watch a new show, if the first episode doesn't grab me, if it's boring or slow, I usually give up. So I felt like it was very good from the very first episode. So was Scream. So yeah, you guys check it out. It does, you know what's funny? I've seen 50 Shades of Grey, and sometimes Jamie really reminds me of his 50 Shades character in this show, except he wasn't killing people in 50 Shades of Grey, but he's very dark in 50 Shades of Grey, and he's very dark in The Fall. It's a very, very adult, dark show. Yeah, The Fall is ending. I think it just might have one more season, and it comes out on Netflix in the UK before it comes out here. But it was really good. Julian's kind of excited for Scream Queens, but if the killer is going to be obvious like last season, then I am out. The show disappointed me. So a lot of people, obviously, I know these shows were both on at the same time, Scream and Scream Queens. And a lot of you were telling me like, oh my gosh, Scream Queens is nothing like Scream, and Scream is so much better. And I didn't really know what you were saying because I hadn't watched Scream. But now that I've watched it, I will say that I think even though their names are similar and they're both dealing with serial killers, the shows to me could not be more different, because Scream Queens is essentially a comedy / a satirical show. And Scream is very serious and real, and it's real life, and it's something that could, I think, really happen. Some of the killings were a little bit too over the top, but Scream Queens is absolutely ridiculous and not meant to be taken seriously at all, and meant to be funny more than anything. So as far as the killer being a little obvious in Scream Queens, I wasn't in love with who the killer was. I also think that's kind of just part of that show. It's not really supposed to be that serious. Now, for Scream, I don't know, hopefully all of you have seen Scream, but I'll try not to give any spoilers. Scream, I actually had the killer as one of my 3 suspects. Because I just feel like at some point you can kind of narrow it down. But to me, and some of you said it was obvious, I never thought that the killer in Scream was obvious. I really don't think they made it obvious, you know. And I was also thinking about Scream, and I want to talk about this so much, so I can't wait till it comes back. But they had a lot of red herrings, and a lot of you guys, or some people on my channel, think I hate red herrings. I don't. I think the red herrings, the way they handled them in Scream, That's the way you do it. And Pretty Little Liars should take notes from that show, because obviously you want to trick viewers. And they did such a good job, because I actually really thought, well, okay, I don't want to spoil it. There was one person who I definitely thought was the killer, and they made it seem like he was the killer in very non-obvious ways, until near the end it got a little bit too obvious. I just think they did such an excellent job. I think every episode of that show was good, really. I thought that was a great, great, great show. And I hope that it can come back and be good too, because we've kind of already done the whole thing with season 1, as far as, we know who a killer is and everything, but I think more people are involved. So Ben says they made it obvious in Scream when the killer told Emma about the missing her whole father thing. Well, but you also had Kieran, who was saying stuff, his family, he said, died mysteriously in a car accident. He had kind of a shady past. But yes, Scream made fun of PLL, which was awesome. I love that. Aaron had a feeling the killer was going to be who it was. Yeah, I definitely thought that the killer was... they were in my top list of suspects. Hi, Mo. Thank you so much for being here. But with Scream, because I just finished it, I could just talk about it forever. I just thought it was so good. Mark says, maybe I love Scream too much because I guessed who the killer was. I had 2 other suspects, and one of them was the person involved with that cliffhanger. Yeah, one of my people was, and then another one was just kind of a... Yes, exactly. And I have to talk. I'm afraid that some of you haven't seen it and want to watch it, so I don't want to spoil it, because it just sucks if you know who it is. But there was a cliffhanger, and I was very suspicious of this person the whole time, and I thought that the person was involved many times, and apparently they were involved. So anyway, anything else do we want to talk about that we haven't discussed from this week's How to Get Away with Murder? I enjoy just talking to you guys. It's fun. But yes, just thank you guys so much for telling me to watch Scream. Let me know in the comments if any of you are watching and you've seen and you are planning on watching Scream and haven't. I want to kind of keep... I know Aaron's asking a specific question, which is kind of a spoiler. So I just want to keep it not spoilerish, just because... Hi, David. Thank you so much for being here. Mo wants me to do a favor. What is that, Mo? Because I'm just afraid. I think Scream is so good, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But as far as the cliffhanger involving Scream, I kind of thought this person was involved the whole time, and I think that that'll play into season 2. But I definitely thought that the killer had to have someone helping them, and I think some of you guys have told me that there was multiple people involved. Tony, I definitely think you should watch it. Apparently, it is not on Netflix in the US, but apparently you can download the Scream app, not the Scream app, the MTV app, and depending on your cable provider, you can watch it for free on the MTV app, all of the season 1, all of the 10 episodes. And then some people told me that you can Google it and find it. The only thing that I would say about that is to be careful. Some of those sites where you can download episodes are actually viruses. I don't know. They didn't give me a specific site. So if you guys know of a site where it's cool and it's not pirating and stuff, yes, it is on Netflix in the UK, okay, and in Canada as well. So do I prefer the Scream Queens or Scream Killer? Scream, because it was more realistic and it made sense, and it to me wasn't super okay, we've got a crazy person in the comments. Sorry, I had to get rid of someone saying crazy things. Anyway, wow. That was the worst comment I've ever had in the comments. Terrible. Okay, so yeah, just be really careful about where you're trying to download this stuff from, because some of it is piracy and some of it is viruses or both. So, oh my gosh, we've just got so many crazy people in here today. I don't know what's going on. We probably need to wrap this up here in just a little bit, because we're getting some massive spammers in here. But I think we've talked pretty much about all we can about this week's How to Get Away with Murder, but I'm very excited for next week's episode, and just to find out how all of this will play out, because it's a great show, as you guys know, and I know you guys agree. Yeah, I think that this person is making multiple accounts here to just troll, just to troll in our happy little How to Get Away with Murder chat. I don't know why. There's just some weird people on the internet. But I just want to wrap it up now. But I thank you guys so much for coming tonight, and for having a great chat with me as always. I know we get off topic, but it's just so much fun to talk about all these they're sort of related, to talk about the related topics with you guys. Again, my How to Get Away with Murder video will be up tomorrow, so hopefully you'll check that out. And I hope you guys have a great evening or a great day, whatever time it is where you are, and love you guys. I know, thankfully we got rid of the crazy person. But anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.